But obviously we had these interviews with Pete and Bernie that were incredibly viral. And then you've seen a lot more figures in left-wing media be incredibly outspoken about criticism of the administration, not Trump, but of the last administration, the Biden administration, and Democrats in general. Mm-hmm. And the criticisms that they're echoing are not dissimilar to the criticisms that maybe us and other people in the podcast space have been saying for maybe the last 4 years. Okay? Almost identical talking points. Us talking about Biden being old and inept and maybe unfit was seen as an extreme right-wing talking point. Yeah. Now it is commonplace. Jake Tapper wrote a whole book about it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Insane, by the way.
The same, now, and again, we shouldn't be bitter. You got to let people get to places. Yeah. But the same people that have tried to position us as some extreme right-wing and some of our colleagues as some extreme right-wing, the same people who have tried to position us in that way and spoke about this in that way are now echoing the exact talking points that we have made for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Does that make them extreme right-wing now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are they extreme right-wing people? Like, or were we seeing something that they just missed?
Mm-hmm. I refuse to see.
Or refuse to see because of top-down influence? I don't know what exactly it is. But I think it's an interesting conversation to have. You see, I think left-wing media started to wake up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Jake Tapper thing bothers me because it's so disingenuous. We've learned this since the election, really? So on November 5th, 6th, you learned all this and then had time to write a book by May. Yeah. Like a full fucking book, then went through edits and God knows what else. You had no idea at CNN that Joe Biden was incompetent and senile, and now you're finding it. It's just like such a load of horse shit. And then to position us as this, I know 2 of us didn't vote for Trump, at least. So we're not these guys that you want to make us. And it is annoying. I think it's more so when you're a minority, when it's like, don't make me that. Yeah. I'm not your little mascot for right-wing anything. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. Or left-wing anything, but right-wing especially. You're not going to make me look like some sellout because you want to lie about your president's mental health and I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that now I think when you're in a position of power, which they thought that they were, and it's easy to like be wrapped up in your little echo chamber, you don't have to consider what people are feeling as much, or at least you think you don't. And then when you lose an election, there is self-reflection for the smart people. It's very easy. A lot of people have lost the election. It's no different than like not getting past at a comedy club, right? Yeah. Where it's just like, it's all their fault. It's nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. And I think that you're seeing a lot of people in left-wing media and smart people in left-wing media that are starting to go, hey, there are things that we can change. You know, like Ezra Klein wrote that book. I think Derek Thompson wrote this book, Abundance. And it's like criticisms of left-wing policies and how potentially it got us here. And they were rebuked by a lot of left-wing sources. And it's like, no. They're trying to call out the things that they believe will help their party.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And even that criticism, there's like this rejection. Yeah. But you're starting to see it, I don't know, I don't want to say like weaken, but you're starting to see people soften to this idea. Mm-hmm. And what's very interesting is I don't think at any point in time they're going to go, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have painted all those other people as this extreme line of thinking now that we have the exact same thoughts as them. Yeah. There's no apology. There's no accountability. There's no nothing. So they have to deal, like Jake Tapper should deal with the criticism he's getting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like people within these political establishments will move slower in general than cultural critics.
Yes, of course.
Like comedians and a lot of like people in media and podcasters in general, like respond to culture and they're able to do it quickly and have less to lose.
Well, it just felt like the cultural critics are saying the same thing about us as comedians.
I see.
That's where I think I'm a little annoyed.
And I think you have every right to be annoyed, but like the advantage, I think, or the competitive advantage in terms of like understanding people that we might have is that we literally travel the country every single weekend. We go to liberal cities, conservative cities, neutral cities. Yeah. We go every single weekend and we perform for these people. We talk to these people. So we start to get a good understanding of what people are frustrated by. Mm-hmm. That's different than like sitting in your Upper East Side office surrounded by a bunch of Ivy League kids who are just telling you that you're right. Yeah. You know, and then calling up some consulting firm who's just going to be staffed by the exact Ivy League kids that aren't working for you. Yeah. You're just talking to the same groups of people. So you're not actually talking to quote unquote real Americans. They're Americans too, of course, but you're not talking to a diverse group. And now that you're on board, it's interesting to see what happens. I actually think this is healthy I think it's healthy because I think it like helps the party get a real understanding of who they potentially lost. And is it that you don't have a podcast, or is it that you're not talking to people outside of your echo chamber? And when you are talking to people outside your echo chamber, it's usually some gotcha shit like this interview with Tim. It's like you exit your echo chamber and the goal is to prove that that person is part of this like new mainstream media where everybody's trying to help each other and manipulate, you know, the country and its voters to go in a certain direction. No, it's not that.
And also Hollywood has been incredibly left of center for decades. How is that not more powerful than 6 guys with podcasts?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just easier to point the finger, right? You don't want to think that you did anything wrong. It's easier for California to be like, oh, but look at the podcast. That's what's causing this. Oh, no, maybe there's some policies there.
Yeah.
Maybe you got some zoning laws that are making it very difficult to build housing. And because of that, you have this massive housing shortage. Maybe it's on you. Maybe it's on you in those zoning laws. And maybe that bureaucracy is making it difficult to build, whereas in other places it's not as difficult to build, and therefore there's more housing. And you can take that on the chin. You can go, hey, we should change this, because our people need us to do it so they can live better lives. Instead of going, podcasters are bros in the manosphere and they're sexist and bigots. It's like the oldest playbook in the world.
What makes me a little discouraged is my understanding is a lot of like the Democratic political consultants now are like, well, let's get a liberal podcast. And it's like, you guys really don't understand
They're throwing
what happened.
tens of millions of dollars. You had one. It was called the Joe Rogan Experience.
And
then you threw them out.
And exactly to what you were saying earlier, we're not, most of us, I don't think are, very few of us are a party. We are just reflective of what people are feeling because we travel the country, especially the comedians, like you said. So that's just figure out what people are feeling and deal with that. And then we'll be happy. Hey, everybody I travel and talk to is happy as fuck. These guys are doing great. Like, instead of changing the policies, they're like, well, let's just throw money. Instead of throwing it at poor people who could use it, let's throw it at a podcaster. Like, what are you doing? You guys don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really funny. It's like the biggest interview of Pete's career is when he came on the pod. Bernie's interview was like incredibly successful, you know. Do you need a liberal Joe Rogan, or do you just need to come on podcasts that you avoided?
That's a
that
great
you
fucking
were
point.
asked to come on.
Great fucking point.
It's not about having a liberal or conservative. It's about coming on places that are curious, that are not trying to like pit you as a specific thing or get you or edit an interview to make you look bad so that the people that are consuming that network's content feel good about their political opinions. Like an honest conversation is what people, or a good faith conversation is what people are going to enjoy. And that happened.
Yeah.
And like, I literally saw the media from the Pete interview. It was like, Pete goes on right-wing pod and has great conversation and totally convinces them stuff. And then after the Bernie one happened, you started to see like the conversation go from like extreme right to just like, Bernie has fantastic conversation on Flagrant podcast. Like even the way we're seen. It's like, well, yeah, maybe if you continue to do that. Now, if Kamala came on, people would know she sucks because she sucks. But that's on her. But that's on her. She's just a very unpopular candidate.
I just wish they didn't lie. We asked so many times to let her expose the fact that she sucks.
They all lie.
Or doesn't. I think we could have had a great interview with her. I think one of our strengths is just getting people to have fun. And I think we could, if we could have gotten her to have fun, it would have been fantastic.
So funny. There's a guy who wrote an article that we're featured in, and he'll remain nameless. But like after the Pete interview, and in the article, you know, we always say it's the greatest hang on the universe. Yeah. And I say it was because I think we get like the best side of people out. It's not this rigid interview. Like we're having fun, but we're still getting to learn stuff. Yeah. And he was like, that's the best interview I've seen Pete do. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And even though he kind of wrote an article shitting on us, right?
Yeah.
And
not kind of.
Then Bernie comes out. He goes, dude, that's the best Bernie article I've ever seen. I'm like, are you not even able to realize that, like, we told you it's the best hang. You just saw two.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. In the article, he literally is like, I disagree that it's the best.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the best hang.
I can think of many places that would be better.
You got to retract that interview.
But that's
put some corrections in that addendum.
Yeah. But isn't that interesting? It's like you get to put something out there and then like you don't ever have to address it.
Deal
and
with consequences.
Narratives go fly and it is what it is.
Yeah.